Welcome to Mindset 52 with JR Rivera. Today's guest, we got a very special guest, good friend of mine, Melvin Melendez. Melvin, thank you so much for being here, man.
Hey, no, thank you, man. I'm pretty happy to be here and ready to rock and roll.
Hey,
What's up?
I'm looking forward, man. I've been talking about having this podcast for a long time. We've been, talking about it already, and I felt like, oh, we should have been recording already because we get into the conversations pretty quick. But I just wanted to start off by you sharing with our public a little bit about Melvin. Tell me a little bit about you. Where'd you grow up? Tell me about your story.
Thank you, man. Hey, so I'm from El Salvador, and I basically moved to United States when I was 19. So growing up, I grew up in a very good family. My mom and dad are business owners. So since I remember, I've been selling something, and it's been fun. So my parents are pretty much my mentors, and basically everything I learned about businesses, I learned it from my parents. So yeah, that's kind of a little bit of me.
When you were growing up, were they entrepreneurs? Were they in business or?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So my I came from a bakery family. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Same here a little bit.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the story is that my mom and my dad started a bakery when I think I was like 3 months old. And then since then they rent that, and then money came, and then my mom is very like entrepreneur mindset, so she has multiple businesses, and I think that's I got that from her. And then my dad is a hard worker. He's very like he's like, how do you say, tenaz,
Yep.
tenacity. He's very like focused on things. Like he's into the construction now. He came to United States, and then he learned construction. So he went back to El Salvador, and then he learned a lot here. So he took those skills back home, and then he's been building houses. He's a carpenter, and he's basically he does a lot of stuff. So
Some of those lessons you learned even when you were a child, you were already watching your parents do some of these things that most people, I feel like in the business world, they learn as they go. And you had some of those examples early on. Do you feel like that kind of structured your path a little?
Yeah, definitely. So, like I say, I was every day of my life. I remember my parents have something going on in their businesses. So, my mom used to own a bus, public transportation. She has like a little. She sells jewelry. She's a money, like a hard money lender.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
that's phenomenal.
Yeah, so she had like a little, like el swap meet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she has a little spot like forever. And so since I was a child, like I said, I remember businesses. We always go buy cheap and bring it back to the hometown and sell it for more. And so I never saw my parents go and work for anybody. And so I think that got into my head.
That's a bug that you had from the beginning, man. That's awesome. I did not know that. That's amazing. You're an entrepreneur by your genes.
Yeah, pretty much, man. So a quick story, when I was like 13, I think I was 13. I pretty much became friends with shoe shiners in my town, And I don't know if you guys know, but most people know, but in our countries, if you are a shoe shiner, you are pretty much very poor, right? That's kind of that.
Very entry level.
Yeah, right,
yeah.
right. So I became friends with some of those guys, and because I liked how they hang out, and I kind of liked to understand things, So I went ahead and started doing that, and then I get beat up by my parents because I was not supposed to hang out with those guys, right? Really? Because it's a different, poverty and different level.
Yeah.
If you want to say that. So, but the funny thing is that I learned so much from that experience that I still apply it today. So this is what I did. So I became friends with them because I like to be friends with them, right? And I basically bought my first, shoe shining box. And then remember, my parents own businesses, so there was always money.
Yeah.
So I took money from them, and then I bought the materials, and I fixed the first box. And then I was doing $2. It's $2 to shine shoes.
Yeah.
So I'll keep it, and then I invested in another one, and then I invested in another one. So at some point, I had 5 boxes working for me. So my buddies at school knew I was hanging out there, so now everybody want to come over and do that. So they were charging $2, so they keep one and I keep one.
You were leasing out these shoe boxes.
Pretty much.
How old were you at this time?
13, man.
You're 13 years old. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So you got a taste of the entrepreneurial bug. You got into that, as a child, pretty much. I mean, at 13, you're still trying to figure out yourself, what you want in life. At what age did you end up coming to the U.S. and how did that happen? So sorry to take you away from this episode, but I did want to take a quick second to introduce today's sponsor, which is Kano Complete Cleaning. They do everything from commercial, residential cleaning, to floor cleaning, tile cleaning, and everything in between. For all your cleaning needs, reach out to Kano Complete Cleaning.
So I came to the United States when I was 19. I was in school. I wanted to be a doctor. That's kind of what my parents, they wanted to see me a professional. They don't want to see me, a business person. So they paid for college, and I had two years in college because I wanted to be a doctor. But my son was born, and he was born with a gift, right? My son is deaf. So for him, El Salvador, it's not a country. Well, back then it wasn't a country that I can say my son is going to have a good life, a good future, right? With that kind of a disability. So I decided to come to the United States, and my dream was that at some point my son was going to get treated here, and he was going to be able to hear and talk just like everybody else.
I love that, man.
So I left everything. We left Franklin with my mom and dad, and me and my wife came over together. So we crossed the border. It was fun, man. It was fun. I mean, it was a 30-day trip.
Tell me about that experience. 30-day trip?
Yeah, man.
So for El Salvador, just for the context, it's pretty far away.
Yeah,
There's several countries, and it's Guatemala, Mexico, right? Those are the two countries that are in the middle of it.
Yeah, 5,000 miles.
Jesus
actually,
Christ.
from here to there. So
did you walk, do a train? How did you get?
So it was fun, since we left home because we pay a person that kind of knew how to navigate everything from home to the border. It was fun, man. We were in hotels, we were in a bus. At some point, I remembered in Puebla, we were in a bus, and then it was like 6 a.m, and the guy came. He's like, "Hey, the bus is gonna stop, and then you're gonna get off the bus, and then there's gonna be 2 taxis behind the bus. So you just get off, go back, get in the taxi, and then we're gonna catch you at like 9 p.m. tonight." I was like, "Okay." So, but as long as I was with my wife, I was fine, right? Because
had each other.
I grew up in El Salvador. So, So, and then I was 19. So, and remember, at 19, we know everything. We do everything.
Oh, yeah. You're invincible. You're Superman.
We're powerful, right? Remember?
I remember at 19, yeah.
So, yeah, man. And then I remember that experience. These men took us to his house, and then to his wife, to his family. So they treated us like family in Mexico. So we hang out. I remember we took a shower, we ate, we took a nap, and then at 9 o'clock, the guy said, "Hey, we're gonna take you to the bus station." So he took us from his house to the bus station, and then we took off, and we ended up in like Matamoros.
That's a border town, right?
Yeah, it's the border. Yeah, so to another house, another family took care of us, and then we stayed there for like 8 days, something like that. And then, one Saturday they came and told us, "Hey, we're ready to cross the border." Well, the river. So yeah, we did that at midnight. Boom, we just walk, and then we walk. that was the hardest part because until then, we were sleeping good, we were taken care by people, like nice families and stuff.
Yeah.
But then after we crossed the river, that's when the real journey begins. So we walked for 7 days.
For 7 days.
Yeah, for 7 days. My wife.
Did you have supplies?
Yeah, we were carrying stuff, and then at some point, people will come over and deliver, supplies to us. So we have to walk kind of towards the road, pick it up, and go back and hide. And so, yeah, that's kind of what we did. The thing was, the really hard part that I remember was that my wife, her feet swelled up pretty bad.
Oh, I could imagine.
So her shoes wouldn't fit no more. Mine did. So I gave her my shoes, and I walked with no shoes for like 3 days in the desert.
Jesus Christ.
And at that time, man, we were like 100 people because that's how they do it. Once you on this side of the border, they make big groups. So because I had no shoes on, I was just walking with socks. So I was leaving these huge, oils like holes, in the sand. So the guy told me I had to be the last one, and I had to get a tree branch, and I was erasing everybody's footsteps.
God.
So yeah, and again, 19 years old, it was all fun to me. It was an experience. The thing is this: when it really hit me, what I just did is when I arrived to LA, and then I got to a family member apartment, and they gave us a pillow, and they gave us a blanket, and they told us, okay, this is where you're gonna sleep, right there. So it was a corner, no bed, just the pillow and the blanket on the carpet. And that's when I'm like, what happened?
Oh my God. It's almost like it was just like a dream. Dude, I can't imagine that 7 days in the desert, walking around part of the time barefoot.
Yeah.
This journey, oh my gosh, that's an incredible story, man. And I think most people don't realize the kind of stories that immigrants sometimes experience. Some of these experiences, that makes a huge effect on your life. Then at that point, after that, problems? Man, what problems? Right? Like it's almost like it numbs you to man, you already went through that. What else, buddy? What else is going to come? Bring it on, right? Jesus Christ, man. That's an incredible story. How was your wife? Did she recover from the feet injuries and all that? Were you hurt at all during the journey?
No. Thank God. Again, 19 years old. Like you fell and you get up and you feel good. My wife was young too, so no. It was more of like the 7 days, like out in the middle of nowhere with a bunch of people you don't know, and just walking, sweating. We have to walk at nighttime and then sleep during the day.
Yeah.
But you can't really sleep in the desert because it's freaking hot. So at nighttime, it was really cold. So it was kind of one of those things. And
the desert is weird like that.
It's weird. And remember, we're from El Salvador. It's 95 degrees every day. and it was cool, But here, this experience changed my life. So I came to United States, and I made myself a promise. I remember this. So when finally we get to jump in a truck, I have never seen trucks with 4 doors, especially the door that opens to the back, right? The
reverse,
door.
Yeah.
So I remember the first thing I told my wife is like, one day I'm gonna own one of these trucks, okay? Because at that point I was like, come on, what else is here? I want to see what United States is all about, right? So the first thing I told my wife was that, and then the first truck I got was one of those.
Jeez, man. Talk about goals and setting, man, that kind of adversity, that's phenomenal, man. I feel like, a lot of what you've built, the different entrepreneurial ventures and everything that you've done, which we'll get here into a little bit here. Um, a lot of it's the basis. It starts with who you are and the experiences that you've encountered in your life, and growing up in El Salvador, watching your parents, going through experiences like this, having a dream for your family, for your son, for your wife, and for yourself. I mean, that's what life's all about, man. Freaking amazing. I was almost said the F word. I said it. We could say it, but but God, man, that hits hard, man. So how'd you get here to Nebraska? Do you have a plan to come to Nebraska? Why Nebraska? That's usually the big question, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, God works in a very mysterious ways. Okay. So my wife, so we were in LA, and then my wife got laid off, and she had relatives here. And she goes, "Hey, I'm gonna go visit." Sorry. And I said, "Okay, go. You have no job. Go ahead. Go 2 weeks. I'll be here." And so she came, and then I think she was here for like a weekend, and then she got 2 jobs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. She got 2 jobs right away. And then she calls and she says, "You know what?" She says, "I'm not going back unless you come over and pick me up. I want you to come get me because I want to show you something." So I came on a May 5th, 1999. I landed at the airport here in Omaha. And so she was here already for a month, right? We lived in a garage in LA at a friend's place after we moved from the relative. I skipped that part, but we moved into this garage, and we have very essential things to live, right? So when I came here, she was living in Bellevue in a really nice house with her cousin, and then she had a bed, really nice bed, by the way. When I left LA, I only had a bike to go to work. So when I came here, she had saved up enough money to go buy a car. So that weekend,
In a month?
yeah, she got 2 jobs, and then some savings that she had when she came here that she didn't tell me about.
That's awesome.
And so and then some of the money that we had together that I brought over. But anyway, so by the weekend, she's like, "Okay," she's like, "We're not going back." And I told my cousin to find a car, and there's a car that we're gonna go and see. Hopefully, you like it. So we went to the dealership. It was a setup. It was a setup. They already had it figured out. She knew how bad I wanted a car, and so that she did that, right? So we went to the dealership, and then I saw the car, and I was like, "Yep, that's my car." It was a red Honda Civic hatchback, and I love that car, man. And it was a stick, because that's what we drive in El Salvador, is stick car. So I feel so badass, right? In a little car. And so and she goes, and I already talked to my other cousin, and he knows a place where they are hiring for carpenters, because that was my dream. In LA, I was doing carpentry, and those are the things that I told her. I said, one, I said, if I go there and I find a job doing exactly what I'm doing here, I might stay. And two, I said, I want to see how everybody lives there, because I don't want to, kind of be tied up to other people's rules, right?
Sure.
So her family it's been very nice to me. So they pretty much opened their doors, and then we went and got a car, and that's it, man. I went and I got a job out of carpentry. There's a problem. I didn't speak English at the time. They all speak English there. So I pretty much, I don't know how I did it, but the guy is like, "You want a job?" "Yep." And he said, well, somebody translated for me, but he says, "Okay, you want to start today? You want to start tomorrow?" I said, "I want to start today. I'm ready." So I got a job here in like Omaha, like 87th and F, cabinet shop. And then, I started hanging out with all those guys. I knew a little English, enough to kind of like BS with people and kind of like, how do you say this? And so I met this guy there, and he's my best friend, one of my best friends now. He said, "You teach me Spanish and I teach you English." And I say, "Deal." He's still learning in Spanish.
Everybody got their own rhythm.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is though, I came here super hungry.
Yeah.
I was determined. I had a boy
Yeah.
with disabilities that I needed to do something.
Yeah.
So that would be another podcast because my son came to United States the same way I did, same journey, and they got chased back after they got into the border. They got chased back to Mexico, and my relative, who I paid to bring him, fell into a hole and let my child go. My son was 4 years old, and somebody else picked him up and ran with him. We didn't know about Franklin for like 4 days.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so he was lost in the border. Nobody knew because it was like 75 people trying to go back to Mexico so they don't get caught. So my relative fell, and then Franklin got picked up by this other person and ran with him. And so
That could have been the last time you saw him. That is,
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
yeah,
Man.
but friendships are better than money.
Did you know this guy, the other person?
No, I knew my brother-in-law, who we pay him to bring my son.
Yeah.
Everybody else was, remember, right? At the border, they put big groups.
Yeah.
People from different parts of the world that they're trying to come over. So I don't know who picked my son up. He was 4 years old. But one thing I do know is this: friendships are better than money. I have a good friend in LA. At the time, I didn't know her phone number, but I knew I can get a hold of her. And I knew she could help me. So I got her phone number through my mom because she's from the same hometown. I call her at like 1 a.m. She says, Melvin, she says, buy me a flight. I'm in LA. I'm going to land it in Phoenix. She goes, I'm going to go get your son. And she did. She went and found my son. And she brought him across the border.
Jeez.
Yep, but that'll be another podcast.
Oh my gosh, man. You have a heck of a story, your son, too.
Yeah, man.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
With all this happening, how'd you keep your composure, doing everything you were doing over here? How'd you keep from freaking out, man? I know you probably had a few moments, but geez, man, I can't even imagine going through that with a kid. And how long were you here already when this happened?
This happened in 2001.
So a couple of years.
Yeah. A couple of years. So,
Just barely getting on your feet, getting things going.
Yeah. Thank God, though, financially, we were good. I think that's a big deal. You got to have, finances in place to resolve problems. And so, thank God like I said, I've been a guy who lied to nurture my relationships. If I have a friend, if I meet somebody, I make sure I get to know them really well, because someday you never know. And so I had a lot of connections, and I use them all. I use all the connections to get my son back. I call people, to help me stay mentally sane. I've always been close to pastors from churches and stuff. I like to talk to them. I like to ask them to pray for me. And so, and my mom and dad, I call them up and I say, hey, I'm freaking out. This is what's happening. And so they move parts down there, with the same guy because, the same guy who brought my dad over, brought me over, and he was the same guy that was taking care of Franklin. So, but at that time, he didn't even know where my son was. So he moved right away to the border. So it was like a lot of people trying to find my son, and God, obviously, right? Yeah. God took care of him, and then thank God he doesn't remember any of that stuff now. Because I asked him, and he's like, no, he's like, I don't remember anything.
But dude, that is one hell of a lesson. If there's anything to learn from this, it's that you have to nurture relationships and count on people and learn to be able to be that person for have people count on you. I mean, Holy crap, man. That is incredible. And I want to move on to your story, moving into the real estate world. How did you get from being a carpenter, things got figured out, you were moving along. How'd you get into real estate? Sorry to take you away from today's episode, but I did want to mention today's sponsor, which is also Accent Insurance. Accent Insurance is your go-to insurance agency here in eastern Nebraska and Iowa. We are here to provide services for all kinds of insurance, from home insurance, auto insurance, life insurance, and everything in between. For all your insurance needs, reach out to Accent Insurance.
Same thing, man. I like to listen to people. I like to study. I like to analyze everything. First, I got into the tax business. One day I told myself, one day I will be a business person. One day I'm going to work in an office. I'm not going to work at this cabinet shop all the time. And so I find ways to, get small achievements, get, like certifications and stuff like that. So I got into the taxes, and then I was a tax preparer for many years. And the funny thing is, when you pay attention what people's telling you, when you read people, and you ask questions, many people were asking me, hey, what do you do besides doing taxes? Because tax season is only like 4 months. Right. And so I was like, no, I'm a carpenter. And then, they were like, do you sell houses? And I'm like, no. And then so people were like, do you sell insurance? I'm like, no. And I'm like, more than one or two person told me, are you a pastor? And I'm like, no. And then I was like, okay, are you a lender? And no, I'm not. So one day I just told one person, hey, I would like to become a real estate agent. Do you know how that works? And this person did everything for me. This person called the real estate commission. Wow. At the time, I only had a work permit. That was one of the biggest, it's always one of the biggest things when you don't have your residency or you're not U.S. citizen. It's hard. Right. It's super hard. We cannot take jobs from Americans because it's very hard for us. And so at that time, I only had the work permit. And so I need to figure it out if the commission was going to let me, be a realtor, not being a U.S. citizen or legal resident, right? The GD was another problem. So yeah, we figured out, and then I started my classes in April. In that same year, by September, I was already closing deals. So basically, again, everything goes back to connections, listening to people, reading people, connecting with people, and understanding what are you trying to do. I like to study successful people. I call people all the time when I don't know what's going on, or if I want to jump into something new. I always figured out who's killing it, and I just call the person and say, hey, can we have lunch? Can you give me 30 minutes of your time so I can understand your business, because I'm about to do something pretty close to your stuff. And I find out that very successful people are very easy, and they are very giving. They don't care. They give you the tips. They give you the advice. They give you all the questions you ask. They give you the answers. So I learned that very early when I came to the United States, because I hang out with a lot of people from different countries and stuff. And I find that everybody has a gift, and then I just trying to find my gift through their other people's advice. So
I want to really talk about that, because you're an example of not letting one single thing stop you and looking. I feel like it's almost like your life's mission has been looking for the adversity, looking for the challenges and getting through them, finding a way to succeed and finding a way to learn. How did you manage to, did you know for a fact that the real estate was going to, once you got into it, did you really feel like real estate was going to be a career where you could crush it at? Because your success speaks for itself, but
Right.
just how did you develop that enthusiasm for real estate?
Yeah, so you don't know what you don't know, right? I just knew that if I was dedicated, if I was persistent, and I was consistent, and I was generous with myself and with others, I knew that something was going to happen. I knew that. I didn't know how much of a success I was going to achieve. So with that being said, again, right, it goes back to, hanging out with the right people, asking the right questions, and then do the homework. Myself, I work a lot on myself. There was times where, yes, things get ugly and you kind of like, is this the right thing to do or what? Like, never in my mind has been the quitting mindset. That's I just like to readjust, So yeah, that's kind of what I can tell you about that.
How did you end up? How did your journey go from becoming a realtor to starting a team?
Yeah,
Because now you have several people, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. We are 8 in the team right now, and it's the same deal. It's the same deal. It's basically, I'm a very competitive person, and I don't like to be alone. Right? I always like to have people around me that we can talk about the same things, and kind of like when you go to the gym, you want to have a gym buddy, right? When you go for walks, when you do, So I just think of the people who can be a good fit, and then I give them a call and say, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is what it looks like. Can we do it together? And every time the answer is yes, because I'm not taking advantage. The advantage I take is the presence of the other person, whether that person is more successful than me or whether that person has struggled with things that are easy to me, because both of the things gives me something. For example, if I see somebody struggling with having problems talking to people, we talk about that. And then I put myself as an example. And then we go out and then we like, watch, I'm going to pick up a conversation with this person. And then that's how we train each other. And then when somebody's very successful, I'm like, man, how do you do that? That seems so hard. And then, they took it, they turn around and then they challenge me. And I love that because it's like, man, I'll give you one example. When I was selling real estate in the early years, $500,000 deal was as scary to me. You have no idea. Yeah. I was talking to my coach and I was like, $500,000 clients are so difficult. It's people with a lot of money. That was my mindset. Yeah. And then my coach says, nope. He goes, I will challenge you to do these. And then, a couple things that they gave me advice on. And it's funny because the same person who bought $100,000 house from me to flip, it was the same person who bought $500,000, $800,000, $1.2 million deal. And he's my friend. So it was my mindset. It was the number. It was so scary to me that I was like, man, so, and that's kind of like mindset. It's hard. If you don't want to bend your mind, if you don't want to change the mindset, it's hard to move to the next level.
That is a huge lesson because so many people, we limit ourselves and we don't realize that we're putting that ceiling on top of our heads where that ceiling doesn't even exist. It's right here. It's just mental, man. That is so, and you put it so elegantly. And I feel like at this point, you're looking for those ceilings. You're looking to challenge yourself. I mean, you've built homes, you've developed, you've done all these things that are just incredible. You never looked for those ceilings. It's almost like you're like, what's next? What can I crush? Right, and that's awesome because that's a way I feel like to live your life. How do you balance all of that with your family now? Your kids are a little more grown up.
Yeah, yeah. That's
Tell me about
the
that.
big one. That's the big one. I don't. Well, number one, I always told my wife who I wanted to be. She knows.
You had the vision.
She knows exactly what that looks like.
Yeah.
Melvin, right? Melvin wants to be this person. So I've been telling her all these years what that looks like and what that looks like for her and what that looks like for my kids and what that's going to look like when I'm gone. So when I put that out there for them, they only support me because one, we're not going to be here forever. Two, it's a good way to spend life when you're busy. So I'm busy all the time. My kids, my daughter got into real estate when she told me she hated real estate when she was like 9. She's like, Dad, I will never do what you do. You talk too much. People always calling you. And then guess what?
That's what I'm getting now, so I hope that happens with me. That's awesome.
Yep. And same thing, man. My son, I hire him right out of high school. I hire him as my assistant. And, I want my boy to be my photographer. We kind of introduced the drones into the marketplace. So do drone videos for listings.
He's incredibly gifted. I've seen some of his videos and some of his stuff is really good.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure we are the ones who introduced that into the marketplace in 2014.
Oh,
15.
wow. That's,
yes.
Jeez.
So, yeah. I bought a drone because I love drones, but I didn't know what to do with it. So I was trying to fly it inside the house. And then he's like, no, Dad, let's go to the park.
About to crash that thing, man.
Yeah,
Well, now they make some of these drones that are so stable. They have these little covers.
Right.
I forgot what they're called, but yeah, man.
So my son, same thing. Like I tried to hire him to be my assistant. He was doing all these little shorts, and because he graduated from high school,
yeah.
But he says I'm not going to college, and I'm like, okay, don't go to college. It's fine. Thank you.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And so, he basically, he started doing all that stuff for me. And then one day he says, Dad, he's like, I want to get into the construction stuff. And I'm like, okay, let's buy a flip and then you're going to work on it. So, and he did. He did work on it. Now he's a plumber. He's he's basically my project manager on everything else that we do.
You got a whole team working within your team, your family team.
Yeah, family team.
How do you balance now the time to everything that you're doing? Is it easier now that they're all intricate and within your businesses?
Yeah, so I try to first of all, though, I tell them what I'm doing. So once I tell them what I'm doing and I see they accept it, then it's easier because
you're very clear with the mission.
Right. I just acquired a new business, and I'll tell you what the business is off the cameras.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting business that I just picked up about 3 weeks ago. And but the one business that I almost kicked my butt, it was getting my Class A general contracting license.
You got the license?
Yes.
That's phenomenal. Man.
That one is speaking of challenges and trying to quit. Man, I took the test like 10 times.
Yeah.
And the last time it was the last time. Seriously. I was like, okay, this is the last time. If I don't pass this freaking test, I'm done. I'm completely done. I'm going to forget about it. I'm just going to be completely done. I'm going to quit. Because it's a 4-hour test, 180 questions. And you know what? Anxiety was killing me. Being away from my phone for 4 hours, it's something that I didn't know I had anxiety until I'm away from my phone for 4 hours. I cannot handle that because of everything I have going on. I feel like I let people down when I don't answer my phone.
What do you mean?
So I talked to my coach about this situation, and we kind of did some training on it. And finally, the last time when I say this is the last test, I ain't taking it no more, and I don't care. I will always hire somebody with a license. I don't have to have these freaking license, right?
Yeah.
I was mad at myself for failing the test 9 times. And so that day I remembered I called my mom. I said, Mom, this is it. This is the last test. And she's like, you'll get it. And I'm like, okay, Mom, I will get it. And yeah, I got it. I passed.
That's phenomenal, man. One challenge after another, taking them on head on, and never shying away from the hard work. With everything that we talked about, I have one last question to ask you. If you had Melvin sitting in front of you, 21-year-old Melvin sitting in front of you, what advice would you give him?
Start investing in real estate, Melvin. You should have listened to your wife. You probably would have be in a whole different place today. That's Melvin. Come on, man. Buy freaking houses. They were cheap. They were $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, Melvin. What you did wrong? And then also, you had an account to buy Bitcoin in 2008, and you didn't freaking buy it. What the heck happened?
Oh, that one hurts.
Yes. Those two.
I love it, Melvin. Thank you so much for being on my podcast and sharing your story, man. I feel like we have another hour that we could possibly do a section 2. Till then, I appreciate you, my friend.
Hey, thank you, man. Thank you for this time.